Bates, it was Hillary Clinton's final performance in Congress. How do you think she handled herself?
Well, this was a real stellar performance, I would say, a great amount of testimony on a very emotional issue. I can't recall another recent occasion where the Secretary of State of any party was as emotional and as forceful as she was on this question. So I would say a great way to end what has been a pretty successful run as Secretary of State.
Well, one of the more telling moments of the performance was when a Republican senator put it to her that he would have sacked her for failing to read cables warning of the inability to handle attacks at Benghazi. She then said, well, what difference does it make if it was due to protests or guys simply wanting to go out and kill Americans? Who came off better in that exchange, do you think?
Well, you know, that was probably her at her most emotional, obviously highly sensitive question. I think saying that, you know, does it matter, probably was not perhaps the best choice of phrase. But I think she certainly laid down a very, very strong set of markers that what we need to do now is, of course, go forward and put in place the right kinds of mechanisms, the right kind of funding, the right kind of investigations, to look at what happened and make sure that they're not going to be a problem again in the years ahead. So I think, you know, given the emotional tenor of the entire exercise, I think she came off pretty well considering her feelings on the question.
Well, she did say that procedures are being put in place. She also admitted to systemic failures in terms of that intelligence breakdown. So where to from here, do you think? Do you think the Republicans will continue to attack the current regime on that point?
Well, it is important to recall that she acknowledged up front, and has even well prior to this testimony, her responsibility as the Secretary of State for the failures and the problems that arose. I think where she gets the most upset and angry is somehow in some of the questions imply that there was a conspiracy or a cover-up in some way. I think given that she's likely to be the Secretary of State only for maybe another week or so, the John Kerry confirmation is likely to proceed smoothly, and he may well be in the chair within a week or so. I think Washington's going to move on from this, I suspect. That's pretty much going to be the high point of the congressional effort to try and find out more on this, at least in a public way. Surely other investigations will continue, though.
Well, Bates, how will her determination to intervene in Libya and indeed today's performance in Congress impact on her legacy?
Well, it's interesting, first and foremost, that so many people are talking about it as a performance. I'm not sure that's entirely fair. I mean, she had a very serious job to do in appearing before Congress and the American public on this, and did a great job. That said, of course, I'm sure she and her supporters and all others around the country, if not the world, are seeing this as part and parcel of her, not only her legacy looking back, but perhaps for her future as a presidential candidate. I would think, on balance, the way she handled herself today is a net positive in any effort she might make in the future to be the American president. On display clearly were all of her great skills, political, diplomatic, and oratorical. So on balance, I think if she is indeed wishing someday to be the American president, what happened today in Congress will end up being a net positive for her.
Okay, so definitely a positive, but let me put you on the spot. Do you think she will run for 2016?
I think she's going to give it very, very serious thought. There's every expectation, at least as far as I'm concerned, that she would give it a lot of serious thought and will probably be running in various ways, if not officially, then informally over the course of the next year, and we'll see a decision coming from her and her team probably in about 2 years' time.
Bates Gill, thank you very much for your analysis.
Sure, thank you.